Good afternoon. Thank you very much. You can all be seated. Administrator Nelson, Deputy Administrator Monroy, welcome. And to the members of Congress, welcome also. You know, it is hard to believe that 54 years have passed. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, who originated the moonwalk 15 years before Michael Jackson ever thought of it, and Michael Collins, the brave pilot who flew along on the dark side of the moon while Neil and Buzz touched down. Later tonight, I'd like to ask you to step outside with your children, your grandchildren. Lift your eyes skyward and tell them of the flag, the American flag, that still flies proudly in an ancient lunar soil. And for those who weren't not yet born or too young to recall, you are the children of the new century. Raise your eyes to the heavens and join us in a great dream, an American dream, a dream without end. Project Apollo, the first man on the moon, some called it quixotic, impossible, and never done before. But America dreamed it, and America did it. And it began on July 16th, 1969. The sun rose a second time that morning as the awesome fireball of the Saturn V lifted those three pioneers beyond the clouds. A crowd of 1 million, including half of the United States Congress, held its breath as the earth shook beneath their feet and our view of the heavens was changed forevermore. 3 days and 3 nights they journeyed. It was a perilous, unprecedented, breathtaking voyage, and each of us remember that night. The landing itself was harrowing. Alarms flashed, and a computer overload threatened to halt the mission while Eagle dangled thousands of feet above the moon. Armstrong seized manual control to avoid a large crater strewn with boulders, with new alarms signaling a loss of fuel and the view now blocked by lunar dust. Mission Control began the countdown for a mandatory abort. America, indeed the whole world, listened, a lump in our throat and a prayer in our lips. And only 20 seconds of fuel remained. And then out of the static came the words, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." Within one lifetime, the human race has traveled from the dunes of Kitty Hawk to the dust of another world. Apollo is a monument to our nation's unparalleled ability to respond swiftly and successfully to a clearly stated challenge, and to take America's willingness to great risk for great rewards. And we had a challenge. We set a goal, and we achieved it. So today, it's not only an occasion to thank the astronauts and their colleagues, the thousands of talented men and women across the country whose commitment, creativity, and courage brought this dream to life. It is also time to thank the American people for their faith, because Apollo's success was made possible by the drive and daring of an entire nation committed to a dream. We left more than flags and footprints on the moon. We also left some unfinished business. Even 50 years ago, we recognized that America's ultimate goal was not simply to go there and back, but to go and go on. Mike Collins said it best. The moon is not a destination, it's a direction. And space is inescapable, challenge to all the advanced nations of the earth. And there's little question that in the 21st century, humans will again leave their home planet for voyages of discovery and exploration. What was once impossible is now possible. The time has come to look beyond our brief encounters, We must commit ourselves anew to a sustained program of manned exploration of the solar system and, yes, the permanent settlement of space. And we are working on that this very day. We must commit ourselves to a future where Americans and citizens of all nations will work together in space. And we are doing that despite the problems that this world faces on the surface. Mankind is working together above the planet, for the planet. From the voyages of Columbus to the Oregon Trail, to the journey to the moon itself, history proves that we are never lost by the pressing limits of our frontiers. Indeed, earlier this month, one news magazine reported that Apollo paid down-to-earth dividends, declaring that man's conquest of the moon would have been a bargain at twice the price. They called Apollo the best return on investment since Leonardo da Vinci brought himself a sketch pad. In 1961, it took a crisis, the space race, to speed things up. Today, we don't have a crisis. We have opportunity to seize this opportunity. Each mission of Artemis should and will lay the groundwork for the next, and the pathway to the stars begin, as it did over 50 years ago, with you, the American people. And yes, we're at a crossroads. Hard decisions must be made now as we prepare to enter the next century. As William Jennings Bryan said just before the last turn of the century, destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. It's not a thing to be waited for, it's a thing to be achieved. And to those many who shrink from the challenges ahead or who doubt our chances of success, let me say to this day, the only footprints on the moon are American footprints. The only flag on the moon is an American flag. And we know that accomplish these feats is American. How we accomplish those feats is through American know-how, what Americans dream, and what Americans can do. And 10 years from now, the 60-plus anniversary of this extraordinary event and the flight, the way we honor the Apollo astronauts, it's not by calling them back to a reunion for another round of tributes, but it's to have the International Space Station up there, operational, and it is fully operational and underway. A new bridge between the worlds and investment in growth, prosperity, and technological superiority of our nation. And the space station will also serve as a stepping stone to the most important planet in the solar system, planet Earth. Environmental destruction has no boundaries, and we certainly know that here in Texas and across this country this summer. And it reminds us of what the astronauts remember as the most sterling sight of all wasn't the moon or the stars. As I remember, it was the Earth, tiny, fragile, precious blue orb rising above the arid desert of Tranquility Base. The International Space Station is a first and necessary step for sustained manned exploration, but it's only a first step. And today, I'm asking the Vice President to lead the recreation of the National Space Council and determining specifically what is needed for the next round of exploration, the necessary money, manpower, and materials, the feasibility of international cooperation, and develop realistic timetables, milestones along the way. The Space Council will report back to me as soon as possible. And when I say this, I know that numerous administrations have tried over the years to create space councils. They have met. Some have made a lot of progress, and that's something that we're building upon here today. Others have been organized, and that's it. I'm saying today we will bring the Space Council back into form. They will meet. We will set goals. We will achieve those goals. There are many reasons to explore the universe. But 10 very reasons why America should never stop seeking distant frontiers. The 10 courageous astronauts who made the ultimate sacrifice to further the cause of exploration. They've taken their place in heaven so that America can take its place in the stars. And let's not forget each and every one of those who made the ultimate sacrifice. We don't know, some of us in this crowd do not know what it takes to launch from this planet. I can tell you, I've personally known some of the astronauts over the years, and I personally have a lot of respect for them. It takes a lot of courage to kiss your family goodbye, your loved ones goodbye, and slip the surly bonds of Earth. It takes a lot. And these men and women of the NASA crew office and the space program do that on a daily basis. Like them and like Columbus, we dream of distant shores, yet not seen. Why the moon? Why Mars? Because it's humanity's destiny to strive, to seek, to find, and because it's America's destiny to lead. Years ago, Pioneer 10 sailed beyond the orbits of Neptune and Pluto, the first man-made object to leave the solar system. Its destination, unknown. It's now journeyed through the tenures of over 5 presidents, 4 billion plus miles from Earth. In the decades ahead, we'll follow the path of Pioneer 10. We will travel to neighboring stars, to new worlds, to discover the unknown. And it will not happen in my lifetime, and probably not during your lives, or the lives of our children. But a dream to be realized by future generations must begin with this generation. We cannot take the next step, the next giant leap forward for mankind unless we take a single step today. And that is one thing that really, really motivates me about education and encourages me, is getting our children, today's school children, excited about space exploration. We do that, we have a very solid future in front of us. To all of you here, our able director of NASA, and others who serve so well, to all of you here, especially the astronauts, we wish you good luck in your quest, wherever that may take you. Godspeed to you, one and all. God bless the United States of America. And I just want to, again, give my thanks to the Astronaut Corps. And I want to end with this. You know, I was a small child. I was a little child. I was, 5 years old. Excuse me. When men landed on the moon. I remember that day very, very much. I remember it very much. Coming back from a family vacation in California, and the captain announced on the airplane that we've landed on the moon. Not the airplane, but America had landed on the moon. And then several hours later at home, watching Neil and Buzz take that giant leap for mankind. And I said to myself that night, that's the job I want. Now I ended up in a totally different profession, but I do know of a person, a former member of the astronaut office, the astronaut corps, who realized that dream. She worked hard, and it wasn't until a chance encounter one day at her college with the first American woman astronaut, Sally Ride, and she walked away from that presentation and she said, I can do that job. 20 years later, and 3 space flights later, astronaut Katie Coleman retired from NASA after a distinguished career, a historic career. Among her missions were a mission led by the first woman shuttle commander, a trip to the International Space Station. And those dreams were possible because of a chance encounter, and also not giving up on one's dreams. So today, as I end, I want to make an appeal to each and every one of our young Americans listening today and watching today. Set your goals high. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't achieve them. And go for it and reach for the stars. Once again, may God bless you. May God bless our troops. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. Thank you.